Everyone to ever click on this video will have the exact same problem. You want to study, but the second you try to, you physically can't. Procrastination doesn't make you lazy. Procrastination doesn't make you stupid. Procrastination is a stress response. When faced with stressful situations, our body goes into fight or flight mode, except there's a third response: freeze. You were doing something before you realized you needed to study, right? Well, why don't you just continue doing whatever it was that you were doing before you realized it? A minute ago, you didn't realize you had to study yet. A minute ago, you didn't feel guilty for not wanting to study yet. How about we just stay there? A part of your brain is staying stuck in the past. It doesn't want to come into the uncomfortable realization of the present, that you should study, but you don't want to. Some people call this a term you might have heard before: cognitive dissonance. Whatever you call this term, it means a part of you wants to do thing A right now, and a part of you also wants to do thing B right now. So what can you do in a situation like this? Option 1, split the task. You could open up half a window of Netflix and half a window of the content you're studying, but seeing this study technique actually makes me want to throw myself off the third floor balcony of my school. Why? Because it's so silly. This whole splitting the task thing only flipping works when both the tasks are equally as fun or equally as pleasurable as one another. If you've got a cupcake and a piece of chocolate in front of you, it's going to be so easy to go, then you go over here, just Why? Because you're enjoying both of the actions. You're just about equally as committed to the cake as you are to the piece of chocolate. But if you added in food you didn't like to the mix, it's obvious which one you're going to be more committed to. If you find writing out chemical formulae just as enjoyable as watching Breaking Bad, then be my guest. But you don't. You know why you don't? Because you're procrastinating by watching Breaking Bad instead of doing chemistry. Tara. Not to mention, there have been 1,000,001 studies out about how multitasking and switching tasks every 2 seconds is actually extremely ineffective and is not amazing for your brain either. Need I explain anymore? So, there's no splitting the task. But what else can we do? Well, you could use option 2. Brute force. This is the motivation bros, gym bros favorite. Just power through. Ignore the way you feel. It's unimportant. If your emotions are like a crying child, punch the child. Grunt at the child. Tell them to be a man. Stop crying. Just grr and do the damn thing. I think you can already tell what's wrong with option 2 just from the way I'm explaining it. Ignoring your feelings or simply pushing through them can often make your emotions even worse. You know when you were a kid and your parents would tell you to stop crying, but then it just made you want to cry even more? Yeah. That's the vibe here. Another thing wrong with this option is it assumes that you have all of this energy to just go bang, pow, wow, I guess I'm studying now. That rhymed. If you're procrastinating, it probably feels like you barely even have enough energy to get out of your seat, talk less of getting up to study. But I don't want to completely crap on this method because it can work. And it's probably worked for you at least once or twice in the past before. It might have actually worked when you actually had the energy. Sometimes you're not even the problem when it comes to why you're procrastinating. Sometimes your schedule is the problem. The time of day that you're studying is almost just as important as what you're studying. Are you trying to get yourself to study at a time of day where you know you're exhausted, where you know you don't have the energy to get things done? Because if you are, do not act surprised when you start procrastinating. You're already stressed. Your study schedule probably sucks, but if you click here, I can fix that for you. Option 3, talk to yourself. If you talk to yourself, maybe in your head or out loud, maybe you can convince yourself to study. But there are different ways to talk to yourself. Like, you worthless piece of crap. What's the point of even Or,
I know you're struggling right now, but you've done it before, and therefore you can do it again. You hear me?
I think you already know what I'm about to say. Talking to yourself might single-handedly be the most important thing in breaking the cycle of procrastination. You see, procrastination is logical and cyclical. It's not random. It follows a systematic process. You were doing something. You realize you needed to do something else. Doing something else is uncomfortable and you don't want to do it. You beat yourself up for feeling uncomfortable and not wanting to do it. This makes you feel more uncomfortable and more like you don't want to do it. So you continue doing the thing you were doing before and the process repeats itself. Nobody procrastinates for no reason. You are procrastinating because you felt something unpleasant. So why on earth would you beat yourself up and make yourself feel even more unpleasant? I don't think we get taught this much in society. I don't think we get taught this much in schools either. But if we want to overcome procrastination, we have got to learn how to take healthy accountability. Accountability is a big, scary word, and it's often used in big, scary contexts. But accountability doesn't have to be big, bad, or scary. Accountability is simply owning the actions that you've taken. For example, okay, let's just say you get a really good grade on a test that you've studied really hard for. You feel proud of yourself. Why? Because you're owning the actions that you took. You are taking accountability for the hard work that led you to that success. But we often use the word accountability to mean guilt tripping. I didn't do well on this test, therefore I deserve to feel crappy about myself because I'm a loser and a failure. But what we don't get taught is that this is not accountability. This is shame. Accountability looks a bit like this. I didn't do well on this test, and it's probably because I procrastinated a lot on studying. I was stressed, going through a lot, and didn't know how to deal with my procrastination. Procrastination is a normal stress response that everybody deals with at some point in their life. I can use my procrastination as an opportunity to learn more about myself and the ways in which I can healthily deal with hardship. Taking accountability is all about owning your actions. It's not about guilting yourself for them. You were allowed to even feel bad for procrastinating like everyone does, but we are not about to beat ourselves up for having a normal human experience. I am not going to let you shame yourself for being human, for making mistakes, and for experiencing life. Improvement is not about being perfect from the get-go. It's about learning from the mistakes you've made over time, which slowly accumulates to becoming a better person each and every day. But you know, everyone talks about this. Everyone says, oh, I'm going to change. Oh, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to learn from my mistakes. I'm going to learn from my actions. But how can we learn from our mistakes? Option 4, listen. As I have said a million times in this video, procrastination is a stress response. We've got to listen very carefully to what it actually is that's causing you this stress. A lot of study advice you'll hear on YouTube for beating procrastination is going to be just applying a band-aid to the wound or sweeping the rubbish under the carpet. And while that works as a temporary solution, there is something deeper there that needs to be solved and needs to be worked on that I feel that a lot of people fail to speak about. The issue is, in today's day and age, we are more disconnected from our emotions and from our bodies than we've ever been. And I mean this across the spectrum, okay? The super go, hustle, grind till you die people are disconnected from their emotions, and the 11-hour screen time people are also disconnected from their emotions. You can numb your feelings out with social media, and you can also numb your feelings out with work. In those short seconds where you're on social media and the Wi-Fi goes out, what do you feel? Or you're studying and your pen runs out, or you're waiting doing nothing while a teacher checks your work. What do you feel? Sometimes these moments are the only bit of stillness that we get in a day. I find that a little bit sad. It's often in these short moments where we realize what we are, we realize what we're doing and how we feel. It's a break from the external world, and it's a break from distraction. It's often in these short moments where we're the best at listening. And if you want to permanently overcome procrastinating, you've got to get really good at listening. I can't tell you why you're making mistakes. I can't tell you what's making you stress. I can't even tell you necessarily what to do about this stress. You are the only person who has the ability to listen and learn for what that might be. After this video ends, I encourage you to take a short moment to disconnect yourself from the Wi-Fi or pretend the Wi-Fi doesn't work and listen in. What's going on? Until then, here are a few suggestions on what actually might be causing you stress in your life. You have too much to do, too many responsibilities, friendship, relationship, or family drama, pressure from the external world, pressure from the internal world, feeling guilty about procrastinating, feeling guilty about procrastinating, lack of sleep and or lack of food, lack of time for relaxation, feeling intimidated or scared by your own goals, uncertainty about what you're doing or where you're going in life, fear of missing out, e.g. on social events, social anxiety, comparison and jealousy of others, e.g. of other people's grades, feelings of inadequacy and feeling that you're not enough or you're not doing enough. If you relate to even one of these and it's just been bubbling up to the surface and you've just been pushing it down, of course it's going to come out in a stress response like procrastination. You could be feeling stress and procrastinating for a reason that isn't even related to studying or grades. For example, the friendship drama scenario, it could be coming out in that area of your life. Also, this is not an exhaustive list. There are obviously things you might be going through, feelings you might have, things that might be happening that I have not listed here. You are the only person who can figure that out for yourself. Some of these have quite a simple solution. For example, sleep more, eat enough. Some of these are a lot more complicated. For example, friendship, family drama, sleeping more probably isn't going to resolve years of unresolved friendship problems. This is just a little YouTube video on procrastination, so I'm happy to do future videos or future projects where I address and help you work through these things. The good thing is that by simply acknowledging, hey, I'm procrastinating because of X reason, it means that X reason has less power over you because of the fact you're suddenly aware of it. It might mean that you have enough ground to try option 5. The little option. I want you to have some kind of study or educational app on your phone. It could be watching science videos, it could be a flashcard app, it could be anything. But it's on your phone and it's easily accessible. So back into the scenario where you're scrolling, press the home button. Come on, this literally takes no energy. All we are doing is pressing the home button with your thumb. Scroll until you see the app we were just talking about. Click on it. Oh wow, your finger slipped. You just clicked on the app. Now that we're here, we might as well just do 5 minutes of this. Just 5. Doesn't have to be an hour. Doesn't even have to be 30 minutes, doesn't have to be 10, just 5. Now, this seems dumb, but Tara, I was supposed to do at least an hour a day. We are doing this for a very important reason. But before I explain it, I'd like to give a very special tip to everyone watching that's taking a STEM subject right now. Since I mentioned looking for an educational app, I've got one that can give you bite-sized STEM lessons on your phone, laptop, anything really. And it's brilliant. Literally, it's brilliant. Brilliant is an online learning platform that helps you get smarter every day. It has thousands of interactive lessons in maths, science, programming, data analysis, and AI. Now, I just told you that you should have some kind of educational/productivity app on your phone. Brilliant would be the perfect option. You don't have to do super long lessons on your phone. You can literally start learning in 5, 10 minutes and make a daily learning streak, and you can even do it on the go. Brilliant has lessons on the full range of topics, going from logic problems to how large language models like ChatGPT work. These lessons, made by world-leading experts in their field, are on cutting-edge topics, for example, AI, which can also help you to build problem-solving skills that can help you in school and in real life too. Not to mention, they are all interactive lessons which help you to keep focus on the topic in a fun and engaging way. And yes, again, I have indeed hooked you guys up with a sweet deal. If you scan the barcode or click the link in the description, you can try everything Brilliant has to offer for 30 days for free. You can also get 20% off if you choose to continue with the annual membership. Again, that's brilliant.org/girlinworld to try Brilliant for 30 days for free and get 20% off the annual subscription. What are you waiting for? You want to go from 0 to 100 in a second. You want something that's going to be bam, done. I'm working now. But if you've suffered from years of chronic procrastination, you cannot realistically sit there and expect yourself to get 6 hours, 8 hours of work done at a time when your screen time is the one looking like that. It doesn't make sense to expect yourself to do something when you haven't worked your way up or trained for it. Do athletes just rock up to the Olympics with only 1 week of training? No, they spent ages putting in the effort that eventually led to that goal. And I mean this for people especially who suffer from really, really bad procrastination. If you realistically haven't trained yourself to study at certain times or for a certain duration in a specific situation, why are you just expecting yourself to do it on the first time? You haven't trained your attention span. You haven't got to that level of trust in yourself yet. You haven't trained your brain to get into study mode at a specific time or at a specific place. You haven't trained your brain to think thoughts that encourage you to study. You want to go from 0 to 100 with 0 training. That's not possible. Look, if you can do an hour of work realistically, then do the hour of work. But if you really, really struggle with procrastination to the point where you're not doing anything anymore, you have to start small. You are self-sabotaging if you try anything too big. Start with 5 minutes a day. Tomorrow 6, then the day after 7, 8, 9, and so on and so forth. 2 months from now, that's already an hour. 2 months from now, that's already an hour that you're putting in a day. But if you genuinely can't imagine yourself getting up and doing an hour of work, you have to start that small. Your job in the moment of procrastination is to do what feels achievable to you in that moment. This will also slowly build trust over time in yourself and your own word. So you know when you say you're going to get 5 minutes of work done, you actually get the 5 minutes of work done. When you're doing the 30 minutes, you actually get the 30 minutes done. But you have to meet yourself where your level is at. And if that level is currently 5 minutes, then start with the damn 5 minutes. But what if you actually have to study a lot in a really short period of time? What if you've got tests and finals coming up, and maybe this video finally gave you the motivation to start, but you just don't know where to start? This video will tell you exactly how.